Greetings, lovely people of the internet. I'm Movie Geek, and this channel is all about sharing my love of cinema. Not going to lie, when I first watched the dream sequence in Metropolis, I just thought it was hilariously awful, to be honest. However, after rewatching it and doing some research, I realised that I had done it a huge disservice. In this video, I will attempt to unpick the dream sequence and what it says about the nature of cinema, reality, and how the two relate. The following video contains spoilers for the movie Metropolis, and I recommend you watch it. I'll put a link to where you can rent it in the description, or at least watch the dream sequence, which I'll also put a link to in the description, before watching this video. Also, before we get started, I'd just like to clarify that I do not condone the way that Robot Maria is presented as happy in her sexuality and therefore bad, while real Maria is juxtaposed with her is, insert quotation marks, pure and therefore good and wholesome. This is extremely misogynistic, and any sexism in the comments will be deleted, blocked, and reported. Despite the fact that cinema had been going for 32 years when Metropolis came out in 1927, the first example of it being used as art rather than entertainment or propaganda had only happened in 1920 with Robert Wiener's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It was only a little baby art form. Consequently, the world was wondering how this new art form would affect how we perceive art and, by extension, reality. Already Caligari had been questioning the existence of objective reality, while in the USSR, Sergei Eisenstein was writing essays that cinema's inability to imitate reality was what made it art rather than entertainment, and low-key creating the basis of formalist film theory. Then there were the realists arguing that cinema's superior ability to imitate reality over other art forms was what made it art. So yeah, people were wondering what cinema meant for our perception of reality, and I think that the dream sequence in Metropolis might be Fritz Lang's take on that question. There are three main threads running through the dream sequence. Robot Maria seducing men at a party with her dance, a scene in a church in which a priest declares the apocalypse is near while statue of death and the seven deadly sins become animated, and finally Freda tossing and turning in his bed as he hallucinates due to his fever. In case it's a while since you last saw Metropolis, the mad scientist Rotwang is proving to Joe Friedson that his robot is indistinguishable from a real human by having her dance seductively in front of the male guests at the party. If the men are excited by this, Rotwang will see his robot as a success. This automatically raises questions of the nature of reality in a world where technology can imitate it so well. The fact that Robot Maria performs rather than individually seducing men alludes to cinema. In this instance, Robot Maria represents the illusion of cinema and what it says about reality that art is slowly creeping closer and closer to perfectly imitating it. Next is the scene at the church in which Robot Maria is not so subtly compared to the Whore of Babylon, and death is seen descending upon Metropolis. This suggests Lang is arguing that using art to entirely escape from reality rather than to engage with it is destructive. Metropolis is a very political film, sometimes to the point of being didactic, so it makes sense that it argues that art shouldn't detach itself from what is going on around the artist. Finally, we have the reminder that at least some of this is happening in Freda's subconscious. You could argue that this is just a device to allow the sequence to be less bound by realism, but I would argue that this is actually thematically significant. Freda's nightmare or biggest fear is that Metropolis will become so detached from reality and absorbed with artificial pleasures given to it by technology and arts that it will neglect the suffering of those who do not have the luxury of escape. This is very similar to Freda's life before he met the real Maria. He idled days away, unaware that his brothers needed his help. Furthermore, Metropolis is a film about loss of humanity through technology, but, interestingly, it is not technology itself which causes the suffering, but Joe Fredeson's use of technology fueled by his greed. Technology and art is only as good or bad as the people using them. In conclusion, the dream sequence in Metropolis is a message that cinema and art in general should be used to engage and reflect on reality around us rather than distract from it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Metropolis or just movies in general, so please do comment below if you have anything to add. Also, do let me know what movie content you'd like to see on this channel. I do my best to respond to all comments.